All right, welcome to the podcast, Lynn and Brandon. Thank you so much for doing this. Welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having us.
Hello, hello.
I'm excited to talk to you guys. We've been kind of messaging back and forth on Instagram for a while. Briefly talked about how you guys got started before we started the podcast. But give everybody a little bit of a background about where you guys are now, what you do, and how you got started.
Okay, so yeah, I can talk about how we got started. Basically, last year, 2023, at the top of the year, Brandon and I, we decided to have a at-home dinner date. So we both love pizza. So instead of doing takeout, we
We
decided.
actually love one particular pizza brand,
Oh,
Giordano's.
Giordano's,
That's the only
yeah.
one everything we ever agreed on. Oh, Giordano's, so the Chicago staple here.
Absolutely. So instead of getting Giordano's deep dish, Brandon said, how about we make our own? So I'm like, ooh, what does that look like? So Brandon and all his expertise for being a chef, just researched, recipes, make the dough from scratch, make the sauce from scratch. And it came out to be so good, so delicious. And we could not stop eating it.
Yeah, the sauce was just we do. You worked in restaurants, and so we do family meal, and every now and then, as an upcoming cook, you have to do the family meal. So the sauce has been something I've been playing around with for at least years, and then I just had the freedom to really flex my muscles on it, and then I think we created something that's really amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
that
So you guys
same weekend,
started, that was just like a dinner that you guys had. You guys like pizza. You're like, all right, let's just make some pizza
at home. Yeah.
That's cool.
So it turned out to be good. So that very same weekend, we made more deep dish pizzas for our close family and friends. So they co-signed with positive feedback, and literally the next week we're like, let's put this out to the world. We were just so confident. We were let's just see what happens.
Blind arrogance in my part.
But I was co-signing everything. Yeah, we should do this.
Yeah.
So we would be regulars at our local bar. And we was just kind of sitting there having drinks, and I was like, wait a minute, this bar does not sell food. What if we sell our pizzas here? So then we asked the bartender. The bartender does not know us personally. She doesn't know about our faces from just coming into the bar every now and again. And she just said, yeah, you can sell your pizzas. And I'm like, oh shoot, we can sell our pizzas. And then we did. So then that kind of just came through as a pop-up for us. She told us what days to go. They have more than one location. So she told us out of the 3 locations, you can come to 2 out of the 3. So she was really, really helpful.
Wow.
At the bar, she'll just do an announcement, hey, get pieces from these guys right here. It's that was super helpful. And then later on, I realized I had a friend that worked at another nearby bar. He is the security guard, the bouncer, so to speak. So then he also said that we could sell our pieces there. So we did. And so we just had a rotation. Both of us working full time at the time.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a regular schedule to tell people we're doing this on Monday and Wednesdays at 6 to 9. It kind of just whatever we could do. But as far as popping up at the bars, we try to do that on a regular basis, in the evenings, on the weekends, sometimes as late as 11 o'clock, 11:30 p.m. and just so personal size deep dish pizzas, $10 each. Came home happy, came home amazed that people are actually eating our pizza, drunk people, but that was the whole game of it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I guess just fast forward, so that was the entire 2023, and then earlier this year, Brandon knew somebody that had. You want to tell that part?
So yeah, it was just really random actually this year. So this is gonna piggyback really quick on our last year. Last year was pretty much get it out the mud, figure it out. How can we really? So we actually had a following from 2023 that brought us into 2024. So what happened was I someone I knew was taking a chef job somewhere. I'm actually just leaving my current executive sous chef position. I actually took a chef job at a restaurant called Labriola here in Chicago. Now I've worked in restaurants forever, but I've never worked on a restaurant that was solely focused on pizza and production and pushing it. So in my mind, I can work any kitchen, any line. But let me tell you something, I learned a lot of things really fast. I understood the pasta and the saute and the garde side. The pizza side, being with those cooks and learning how they move was everything. because it was actually a 360 when my mind expecting that. I worked in an Italian restaurant where we did, the wood fire pizzas. It's not the same as doing pizza production at a high value and
right.
fast. Like we're talking about a restaurant that makes $20K a day. So,
wow.
So we're on Michigan Avenue, Chicago. Only our competitor is Illuminati's and Giordano. So those are like our one of the top 3 to top 5. So then that transitions to we're feeling some type of way. January comes around. My friend says, I'll take this job at this restaurant in the south suburbs of Chicago. I go check it out. They have all this pizza equipment. They don't have anyone to do it. I said, listen, I'm not going to leave my high-paying salary to come work for nobody. It's just not me. It doesn't make sense. So we came up with a partnership where we are able to run Lynn Chicago Pizza under her umbrella of Lux Rusto, and then our following followed us, and then we picked up a new following, and people have been following.
Right. So then
That's
that was
great.
from January of this year, January to I guess to July. But in the midst of that, in May, we have a cafe in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just been empty for a long time. Yeah. So
beautiful too.
Beautiful place. So we live in a neighborhood. We'll just be walking by and literally just on the other side of the glass, just peering in and just dreaming about what if this was our spot.
That was me doing a lot of peering.
And then just dreaming and everything like that. And then finally came across a way to contact the owners of the space. The owners of the space.
How'd you do that? How'd you find their contact info?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Wasn't it just the flyer was tucked in all the way inside the place?
It was a flyer inside the place, but I also knew the girl who had used the space not a decade ago, but years ago, right before the pandemic, probably around 2015, 2016. So we went to school together, we're all from the same community, so I kept reaching out to her. She finally, we saw the little paper they had inside, we couldn't really reach it, but being able to reach out to her, she kind of put me in place with this. Then our alderman told us about, it became this big circle of life type thing.
That's
right, absolutely. Yeah.
Persistence though.
Yeah, it's a lot. So Brandon reached out to the owners of the space, and at the same time, they were looking for their next move. They were looking for some people to come in and take, ownership of the restaurant.
Apparently, the last tenants ran out in the middle of the night.
Some weird stuff. I don't think we still fully know what really happened, but anyway. So the owners, they invited us to do a pop-up in May. We rocked that pop-up
inside the location.
At the location, yes.
Okay.
So we took over this space as if it was our actual restaurant. We did a pop-up from 4 to 6 or something like that.
No,
4 to 9 p.m. 47 p.m.
Really?
And then literally at 4 o'clock, people were outside the door, just lined up.
Well, to kind of piggyback on that and just give you context on how it worked was, this space wasn't guaranteed. So the landlords had another chef and their concept do a pop-up in the same week. Just kind of gauge what the community wanted. Yeah. The community was kind of it didn't matter who had the most money at this point because of how the last tenants and the community wasn't involved.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where when people come to our restaurant, there used to be a coffee shop. No, it was 2 other things prior to a coffee shop before us. Yeah. And they never mentioned those things.
So the landlord kind of wanted a space that someone would go in there and be successful, and the community wanted it to be supported by the community versus all right, you get the highest rent, you can just go in there and 6 months from now I'm going to put something else in there again.
Correct. Exactly.
So it was almost a competition. You guys had a competition and been all right, who's going to win this competition for the space?
I mean, that's honest. There wasn't really no competition, but we had to compete for the lease, yes.
I mean, we had a DJ. We just asked our family and friends to come through and help us for the day. Very successful. We did have to go through an interview round with the owner. So it just really wasn't A and B. We had to go through from A to Z with these people. Yeah. And then soon after that, they offered us the lease. So we're oh crap, we could have a restaurant in our neighborhood. The same one that we've been walking past, driving past, what do we do? And I was it's probably not gonna happen.
Wait, so is that where you guys are now?
Yes.
Is it open?
Yes.
Yeah, we're open.
Yeah, so we've been open since August, actually. And they offered us the lease until June. It's been good. So we are 90 days in. So it's been a lot. A lot of different things. I would definitely say that.
Yeah. Wait, so you guys got the lease in August and you opened
Well, we got the lease in June.
Well,
And it took you 90 days to open?
So the lease, we got the lease. Our lease started in August 1st. We didn't get open until the end of August. But the preparation from finding out was all put in place because we wasn't for sure we were going to really pull this off. So.
And I delayed signing that lease for as long as I could because we got offered it in June, and like the owners, they were like ready to go, and I'm just kind of like, wait, like we got to figure out some stuff, and like just money was a big deal of it. Like it was a huge part. Like how do we do this?
Right.
How do we get the money? And like I've been like going through circuits of like banks and non-traditional banks, like trying to get a loan here and there, denied every single time. So like it was discouraging, but like just every night just like on the grind, like researching grants, applying and doing all of that stuff. And then like finally got granted a $20,000 loan. And I was just like, wait a minute. And I was like just within like maybe 2 weeks or something, because like we had to like hurry up and make a decision. I couldn't delay, you know, this lease any longer. And it kind of like just made sense. And then I had a friend like who owns a nonprofit organization, and he's like, hey, I have a program and I can give you interns to work. Like we'll pay and they'll work in your restaurant. And I was like, oh my God, like all of this stuff is falling into place. Brandon was able to like find some used equipment and like really just like see like what we can buy like on a budget, and like all of that stuff was like happening at the same time. I was working on the money, he was working on like just
we were actually fortunate because the space had majority of pretty much everything: tables, chairs, stove, oven, mixer, coolers. So we only added a few little other stuff that we needed to become a pizzeria. Like we we've been trying to use a confection oven since the time we opened until 2 weeks ago when we got a Pizza Master.
Got it.
And we didn't even get we got the Pizza Master 400 just to get started. That's all we have to pay money.
All right, cool. Let's take a time out for a second because I have so many questions.
Okay.
This is a great story so far. So you started as just making a pizza in your house because you didn't want to go out. That turned into going to the bars in your area, the people you know, and be like, hey, can we just sell some pizza here? And they said, yeah. That turned into taking over almost like a ghost kitchen, right? Like it's somebody else's restaurant, and you kind of put in there, and like you were using that space, and then you got offered this. You found a way to make it happen. That's unbelievable in the course of 2 years. So here's the thing. Anybody else tells me like, oh, it's hard to open a pizza shop. I'm not saying it was easy, but it was definitely possible for you guys. Everybody else could just shut up and just do it, right? Like you just got to figure it out and put your nose to the grind and be like, all right, we're not taking no for an answer. We're gonna make this happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of times too, and this is not just no slight on anyone. I have restaurant experience. I have over 15 years of restaurant experience from ground up, from line cook, prep cook to sous chef, executive sous chef. So it's like it was a lot of me just taking abilities and skill sets I already had, and then now how do I just turn down the budget to very nothing?
Yeah, right.
Like I'm used to like money to play with, so I'm like, okay, how do I do this? Called a lot of friends, talked to a lot of people who've opened restaurants on the south side or just anywhere, and just say, hey, where did you find this? Where did you find that? And I found a store in the middle of the hood. So I went to this high school in the middle of the hood, and there was a whole little restaurant store that was only 6 blocks away from my high school. It's in the hood, Inglewood, Chicago. Okay, and I never knew this place existed, but it's been there because I've gone past it a jillion times growing up. This is my high school place, and I'm like, we were able to find all this equipment. So I was able to find some things that worked, some things didn't work. So we kind of lost money on it, but it was still, we were able to get open.
That's great. So how much did it cost you, like all into openness?
I would say
like day one, not like the stuff you've bought recently. Like when you just opened, like just to get it going.
I'd say 14.
I'd say 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because we used
about 50.
We used a lot from that loan, like to actually like pay the rent. From August until now, we still have some left. So I think like with everything like we bought in the very beginning, like it was like $10,000. I remember having half of that $20,000 left, and just keeping it, not spending it, using it for rent for like just in case,
Yeah.
And that's been helpful because listen.
So we're recording this episode in December. You've been open since, say, September 1st? End of August, September 1st?
Maybe
a couple months now. How's it been? How's business been?
So it was slow, like when we first got open. So I would say like that was actually like August 27th. And then like now at that point, like, we're rolling into September. after Labor Day. We were like really just contemplating, like, should we even like be open on Labor Day? We're like, no, like fuck that. We need to have consistent hours, and we need the neighborhoods to know that like we're here.
Yeah.
We were just there the whole day, and like just one guy came in like right before we closed, like, which was fine.
So I'm gonna kind of quickly answer this question. So right now, our gross sales are over 30,000 in 90 days. So
That's good.
So that's our gross sale. Now our profit is like, oh, the question is nothing.
Yeah.
But for us, I mean, we're supposed to go, so we went a little faster. My partner, she thought we were gonna just like how to pop up, like we open the doors, people come, but it took a little time. Then we did some influencers reach out. We had influencers reach out to us. We didn't charge anything. Who just whatever they do with their program, whatever it is. So then now, people go, we wonder what happened because we were gone for like maybe a month and a half, or like not being in the restaurant in the suburbs and kind of just doing back to the bar thing. So the bar following is smaller because it's just those people go to the bar. But like the overall city following that we have in our community, that was where they like, oh, we thought you disappeared. They're like, no, we had to get this restaurant open. And so then now we opened. We got hammered for about a good 30-something plus days because we didn't have the right oven. We were, again, trying to use a convection oven.
Yeah.
Stone, I'm flipping, doing this. Like, she's like, oh, I can't get help. Like, I can't teach anyone. Ha, 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 ha. Like, you just got to know where to ha, 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 ha. And she's like, I can't teach that. And so, we found someone who's likely invested into us to grab us. We got a little pizza master, but we're happy to have it because it's definitely changed our productivity dramatically. And as we move into December, we already see our catering orders pick up, our rental spaces are picking up. So sales-wise, we're really good, in my opinion, where we're at in sales. That means we're doing something right, and it can only increase.
Yeah. What hours are you guys open 7 days a week?
No. So right now, we're open Monday, Thursday, Friday from 4 to 9, Saturday and Sunday, 12 to 9, and close Tuesdays and Wednesdays, just because we're just trying to check out the vibe. Starting Monday, we're actually going to be opening for lunch Monday through Friday, but still close on Tuesday and Saturday evening.
Okay.
Because it's just pretty much just me. So
yeah. And are you guys doing takeout and delivery, or is it just takeout?
It's takeout, and we're playing with delivery apps. We're actually playing with Slice right now. About to get finished setting up with them, but
nice.
Yes, it's mainly takeout, which is a little disheartening because we have such a big restaurant. We want people to sit down.
Yeah. Is it Chicago style pizza too?
Like 2,400 square foot?
Yeah, our restaurant's 2,400 square foot.
Yeah,
so it's a pretty good sized restaurant.
Yeah, it's a big, and it's definitely.
And the rent is reasonable for the amount of square footage that we have. So that was another reason. Yeah, that's another reason like, we wanted to like jump on the opportunity. But it's a beautiful space. A lot of windows. We have garage door, private dining room,
patio.
Yeah, patio. Kitchen is decent. Yeah, so.
What kind of style pizza do you guys have? Is it Chicago style pizza?
Yeah, it's just Chicago style, thin crust and deep dish. We're keeping it, that's our name, Lynn Chicago Pizza. And
yeah,
I know everyone in Chicago is playing with the different styles, but I'm like, you know what? In our community, that style of pizza is not being represented by us, the African American community.
Yeah.
We have a lot of great pizzerias in the city, and I just saw there was a niche. There's like, hey, there's none of us selling to us the pizza that we enjoy already, that we talk about Chicago. So, and that's what inspired us. And then to be in our community, which we are a food desert, and bring it, and these are all like things that kind of got us where we are in this space. Because that's our mission. That was our mission plan from the beginning. That's still our mission. The best quality food, the best, and we get a lot of pushback because our community is used to mediocrity.
To be honest,
frozen pizza dough,
Domino's,
sweet sauces, like cheese that they're used to only change, like the cheese that has the chemical where it can only change one color, so they think that's consistent. I'm like, no, real cheese is gonna have different melting colors.
Yeah, like we even getting reviews from people, oh, our pizza is burnt, and I'm like, okay, like let me see it. Like, no, this pizza looks fucking beautiful.
Yeah. So when you say thin crust, you mean like thin crust Chicago style, right? Like the tavern style? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, everyone's been saying tavern style lately a lot. We never said that. Really, honestly, like we knew what it was because it was the idea was created, and then tavern style is more like the cracker thin crust. So most thin crust in Chicago is not really cracker thin unless you're at a bar like that.
Okay.
Majority thin crust pizza is, like maybe like this big, like thin crust. It's not New York thin. So we never said tavern style, and then hate to say it, it's now a trendy thing to say, and everyone says it, and most of us are like, we never said that here, never.
Okay.
Make it a thin crust sausage pepperoni.
Got it.
I'm just gonna be that's just my perspective. But I'm just saying that, not saying that everyone saying is wrong. It's just that became a new trendy thing to say.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like to see what like the actual people say, because I always, when you hear people outside of Chicago talk about Chicago style pizza, they don't even think of the thin crust. They just think of the deep dish.
Correct.
But I was in Chicago in May or April in.
Oh yeah, because you went to Homeboy up north. I like this Billy Bricks.
Yeah, went to Billy Bricks. There was another place I went to, which was outside. It was a. Oh man, he's gonna kill me if I forget the name of his place, but it was inside a coffee shop. And he's serving really good pizza. It was like at the outskirts of Chicago. It wasn't in the city. He was really good too. But yeah, I went to when you're in the city, you talk to people who live in Chicago. Like they very rarely even eat deep dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you know what, and we were trying to figure that out because a lot of people, only tourists eat deep dish. I think deep dish in most Chicagoans' mind was a celebrating thing.
Okay.
Like, it's like, we're going to go celebrate, let's go get a deep dish. And even in my own background, I'm like, no, I'm more likely, I'm going to Giordano's. We're going to sit down, we're going to get a salad, mozzarella stick. So I think that when we
know it's going to take 50 minutes for it to be made and brought out.
Or an hour and a half, depending on how busy the restaurant is. Yeah. So I think when we think of deep dish as Chicagoans, we think about a dining experience. And then we think, when normally pizza is just grab pizza, slice, hang out, beers. And I feel like more time and time, that's why you don't hear us talking about it, because that's like us going out for a steak dinner.
Got it.
The Chicago way, like, hey, babe, let's go. The kids did good at school. Let's go get Giordano's. And then we're not getting thin crust. We're gonna get deep dish.
Right.
So most of the time, like, it's not the number one preference, but it's kind of like the specialty. Like, oh, I get a deep dish.
It's a special thing. Like it's a celebratory thing. Yeah. Definitely.
What's like been the biggest surprise for you since opening up?
Biggest surprise, I don't think I know everything as I think I do, because I'm like, I've worked in all these fancy restaurants, I've been an executive chef, I've run these tight food costs, and I'm like, ooh, this shit is different when it's your money.
Yes.
this shit hit different when it's your money. You're like, ooh, okay, so hold on, so I can't get those plates?
Yes.
Damn, I can't get that plasticware? That plasticware look nice. That's got that carbon, wood, plant, earth. Oh, how much? I'm gonna get that $30 box instead.
Yeah.
So it gets a little fun. Learning that it's different for me because working with someone doesn't have restaurant industry experience. It's been very challenging from start to finish. I talk a certain way, I move a certain way, I want them to think a certain way. Yeah. I'm like, go watch The Bear. I'm telling you, it's the same thing we're doing, but it doesn't translate sometimes. Fiction and reality, but also just. Because we are partners, we do have to sleep together. We do have to go home together. We do. Yeah. That's the most challenging of everything, in my opinion.
Yeah. You said a couple things there that really resonated with me. Number one, I remember I've been on this mission lately to tell people because a lot of people listen to the podcast or watch our YouTube channel. They want to open a pizzeria, and I always say, think about inventory, right? Like when you're the manager doing inventory, if something's half empty, you're like, we'll just order it. When you're the owner, you're like, maybe we don't need to order that. Let's just hold off and see if it runs out. And then, because it's your money coming out of your bank account. So it's way different being a manager versus an owner, even though when you're the manager, you think you can be the owner. You might be able to do it, but it's just a different mentality that you have to have.
Yeah.
And then working with your spouse or significant other is very challenging because it's very, very hard to separate personal life and business.
That is not me.
She cannot separate personal.
I feel like Brandon has the biggest problem.
You cannot separate personal. I'm like, this is just restaurant talk. I move on from restaurant because you know how it is. Once we're done, we move on to the next ticket.
Yeah.
No, that's her.
I mean, when we were super, super busy, this land within our first month, it was stressful because we didn't have anybody really helping us. I was the only one in the front. We had all of these influencers, like Brandon said, so it gave an influx of people, which was great, but it was also just we were behind with getting out the orders, and I have to go and kind of disappoint people. We gave refunds, and I that was kind of a a nightmare, but like it was a growing experience. It was kind of like us going home and being like, man, like this was a hard day, but like what are we going to do tomorrow to make it better? Okay,
Yeah.
so then that didn't work, so what are we going to do tomorrow? So like a lot of trial and errors and like just learning from each other and our experiences that particular day, because there's no way that we can go home at night and be like, oh, this was a great day. Like, no, this was a hard day and we cannot move forward and be successful in this way. So just a lot of...
and I think we had a great day, a really good
Yeah.
day, and I kind of might have made it stressful because I knew the day was really good, so that I went into that super chef mode, like, trying to like micromanage because I'm like, yo, we're about to hit $1,000 in sales, no mistakes, and I'm like, now I'm going like back into like that more like, hey, stop, don't do that, don't touch the ticket, don't do that. I'm like, and I made a day that could have been great hard because my mind saw that the day was about to be good, and I instantly thought about a perfect service, which is not, it's not existent, but you still want to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, definitely wanted to get to that point. It's a learning process, though, right? Right? Like it's definitely a learning process, and it sounds like you've kind of hit a flow where you've made some mistakes, but you've learned from them, and now you're kind of catching a groove, which is good. Sometimes it's like, imagine if you were slammed really a lot in the beginning, and you had all of those like
We were.
you didn't have your stuff in place like you do now, and it's like, oh god, sometimes it's good to not be busy right off the bat.
And
Like
then that was the
busy.
goal. Like that was the whole plan. I'm like, I don't think we're gonna be busy right out the bat. I think we're gonna have time to work on. I have all these systems in place. I literally threw all those systems out and have to rewrite a new system. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Why is it taking 45 minutes of pizza? This is crazy.
Yeah,
it was just-
but I think just like the influencers that we had, like I didn't expect for them to drop it immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Like usually, like it takes them like a week or two, but like they dropped it like 2 days later, and they was like back to back, and like they have a huge following. So we will get people coming in just like, yeah, I just saw you on such and such
The
on
same
Instagram,
day.
on TikTok,
The same
and I
day.
want what that guy had. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
And then our favorite question, oh, let me get this, but what's in it?
Yeah, like we saw like that guy on Instagram.
Wait a
Like,
minute.
yeah. We have a lot of signature pizzas that like people come in, like they just hear about it from the internet, online, like wherever, and they're just like, hey, can I get the Dorchester pizza? But hold on, what's in it? I'm like, how you gonna order something you don't know?
That's customers of the pizza place for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you get like the how big is your 16-inch pizza questions?
We get that every day.
Yeah, and you're like, are you
I'm
serious?
like, that's at 16 inches.
How many people can it feed?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get a lot of silly questions.
It's like,
amazing
guys,
how-
order a pizza.
Yeah, it's amazing how no matter where you are, if you're in the pizza business, like there's certain questions, like I could say to someone else who owns a pizza shop, and you know it immediately what I'm talking about. Like if I said, how big is your 16-inch pizza? Like we could all just laugh about that. There's no like,
Yeah.
if you work in a pizza shop, you've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what are you guys working on now? Where do you guys see the business going?
So right now we are working on our lunch menu and really pumping up our catering and our event. Our space is so big. We've been trying to rent the space out for events, birthday parties.
Yeah.
But we're leaving money on the table. Our community is really interesting. It's still one of those. By the University of Chicago Hospital, University of Chicago. We're
Okay.
going to be 7 blocks from the Obama Center that they're still building, Obama Library. So we're in the Woodlawn community is snuggled between the university and Hyde Park, which is one of our more upper class, black communities / university communities.
Yeah.
What happens on our block on 61st Street is that it's a lot of traffic throughout the day. Like right now, I'm watching the cars, I'm watching the delivery, and after 5:30, it goes.
It's like ghost town.
Got
No,
it.
but it's still traffic.
Yeah.
But it just the people. It becomes. And I grew up in this community as well, so it's one of these where it's just like, okay, everyone's like, we're in the house now. It's like we're after work, no more. We have. So it's just trying, and then that's why we said now we become this super takeout place, and you're like, damn, all these people, and they're not sitting. And I love the sound of a full restaurant, but we just watch people go in and out. Again, grateful,
Yep.
very grateful that you're coming in and out.
Yeah.
But so right now, lunch is my biggest thing that we are going to just finish up the menu. We just talked about it. I put the plan together, system together. It's really simple. The only thing I'm buying is turkey meat to make hot turkey sandwiches. So everything's already in house. We make our own bread already. So I'm just going to turn it into a loaf instead of doing the focaccia. I can, so there's little things we do already, and I have now a couple players in place where it can be facilitated. Like I have my young lady who makes all the dough in the morning. I taught her. So now she's going to make the pizza dough. She's going to make the bread dough. I come in the morning. I bake the bread off. boom. Like it's a 2-man. I made it where it's a 2-man job to work lunch. It's like 7 items, and again, they're all interchangeable for what we already do.
So So what are you doing for marketing right now?
Everything we can possibly think of.
Why don't you do like like recipes, like cook recipes? You have. It seems like you have the space and you have the lack of people coming in to like really make it loud in your restaurant. So why don't you do like recipes and videos and like show how because you have a huge culinary background that I'm sure people aren't aware of.
So that is another project that she has pushed onto me to start on January 1st quarter. Started working on more content videos, building the pizzas. I just found a guy that can actually work a camera properly to really help me build the content, and he's going to do it for pretty reasonable, maybe like I think he said 175 a session where we do content building that day. So that's a great deal. He's an up and comer too, so
yeah,
that's the best way for us to we got to find other up and comers we can work with. And as in my mind, I'm showing him what I need, and he can start developing it. And then
what holds you back? Is it the technology, or is it like the
it's not the tech. It's time. It's
so
just
like setting aside the time to record the stuff.
Yeah, because I even started with I had started before the restaurant. I was doing my Pizziolo Poppy, talking about the opening.
Yeah.
And I kind of got away from it once we got open.
Yeah.
Because it's just a lot of 80% of the kitchen is all me. So just finding just anyone to make my dough for me saves me a little more time. I have someone else to help me with this. It saves me a little time. So now that I've found these people, I can get back to marketing, doing content. We already have a storyboard lined up for what's the first video we're working on. I already have it working with it. So we're going full speed into getting our marketing game up. I do my own, press releases.
Yeah.
I send them out to all the local. I do my own press releases, and just try my best. That's what we can do right now. Of course, we're gonna get to a point where we can probably go bigger, but right now we're just doing it back when we used to say we want to be a musician, right? You fucking carried your CD to the radio station. Okay, play it.
Yeah. But we also been getting a lot of media attention since we've been open. It's that's been a blessing. WGN, which is a news station here in Chicago, very, very popular national TV station.
Fifth hottest restaurant last month.
Yeah, on Chicago Magazine, Chicago Tribune, which is a huge newspaper in Chicago, and then other local things, Hyde Park Herald, Chicago Block Club, Chicago Reader, and all of these publications they reach throughout Chicago, not just the south side of Chicago where we are, but the north side, the west side, the suburbs. So it's just kind of we've been featured in one magazine, and then it just spiraled in a positive way, just up, up, and up. We just had somebody here last weekend from Choose Chicago. They're mainly on Instagram, on social media.
Yeah.
So they come to places and they just highlight what's the best thing in Chicago right now. We just had a guy come in last Saturday, do an interview randomly.
Ordered all the specials.
Yeah, just thinking he's a regular customer, and then he said I'm from Choose Chicago, and I said, oh great. He said, can I record you? Yes, you can.
And then there's another my personal project, because I do have a certain level of experience in certain type of cuisine. So I do my own pop-up once a month called Aja, which is our upscale urban Italian. So we do Neapolitan pizza,
okay,
we do made pastas, we do a couple of steaks, a couple of chickens, and this is a monthly pop-up. We give away some wine, and I make some cocktails. Just for me to kind of do, I say Lynn's is my baby, but Aja's always been a passion that I've been thinking about for decades.
Yeah.
If I ever got my own restaurant, so having the ability to float between both is always fun, and that's drawing up some good attention. We have an Aja dinner next week. I have the aldermen from the city. I have some business people from the city coming for this dinner.
Do you do that in your restaurant?
Yeah,
that's great. That's a good idea.
Once a month, I just flip it to what my downtown style restaurant would be.
Yeah, so we're really just using this space to have our own personal projects and passion projects. I'm hosting events. We had 3 open mics last month, and again this month. We actually have one tonight. So, we had karaoke on Sunday, so I'm doing all the programming, getting people in here, and it works because people they're coming in for the host that host the open mics, not necessarily for Lynn Chicago Pizza, but when they come in, they order the food, and now they're customers. Now we got them.
And so what we do with those events is we flip into what we call concession mode, where we only have slices. We don't sell slices. We're going to sell it for lunch. But that's about it. But so when we have these events, we flip into a concession mode where we just do slices, we do small orders, our wings, a small salad, our chicken, our breadstick bites.
So a limited menu, so they can just
very
order
limited. So it can be, I can do it by myself. I won't need 2 people. And then she can kind of just flow, and like a lot of stuff sits in the hot box, and people like it's a concession stand.
Yeah.
So that's worked out dramatically well for us on these events. Instead of hoping someone orders a whole pizza, they end up sometimes buying a whole pizza by buying slice by slice.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah. Another thing like we talked about too, like when we first opened, like we were operating as if we are like a big pizza chain. Like we have like all of this equipment, and that's why we're getting our asses kicked. One of the reasons. So it's just kind of like, okay, let's take a step back. Let's be real and like let's do what we can. Like it may disappoint people. Oh, like, oh, you don't do slices or you don't do this or that. But just like we can only do what we can. And when we try to do too much, then we're unsuccessful.
Yeah, no, I agree. We probably lost more people than we actually gained. And so
by trying to do too much in the beginning,
by doing just trying to like operate, and it comes from me. That came from my leadership. I think I'm so used to these big teams. I don't know how to bring it down. My mind's like, oh, I have this guy here, but I'm like, wait a minute, I am this guy. I start naming myself Jose, Johnny. I'm like, wait, I'm doing all these guys' jobs. I'm like, I'm too old. I can't keep up like I wanted to. And then it just became one of those things. So we tried too much. So we started going back to kind of the things we did in the beginning, out of our house, out of the little pop up, and kind of got back to that. And it was easier for us to kind of now get our flow. Because we got a good pizza oven, so now we really have a better flow. I mean, it was, we needed those 60 days to get our ass kicked to figure it out. And
sometimes it's good. It's like humbling, right? Like it makes you like take a step back and be like, you know what? Maybe I don't know everything. Yeah. Sometimes, especially like when we're in the business, or like I said, same with me. When I opened my second location, like I thought I had it all figured out from the first one, and I realized that different location, different clientele, different area. It's not the same building. It's not the same people that work for us. It's like, you know what? I don't have anything figured out. It's like a whole new learning experience.
Yeah, no, definitely.
This is great. So what's one piece of advice if someone's listening to this or watching this on YouTube and they like want to get into the pizza business? What do you guys tell them?
I say stick to what you know. I mean, if you got somewhere based on what you were doing from start, and then you're at a point where you can open a restaurant, you can't ignore what you did already. And that's something we have to sit and we do all the time. We reflect like, damn, we did that? Okay, we got that. And then we got our space, and I go into super chef mode and say, it's like, no, let's go backwards and let's do what we were doing, because there's no way for us to start from February, or let's say the end of January of 2023, and all of a sudden by August of 2024 we're in a restaurant. That's almost
right. Like we did not plan for this.
That's almost
we did not like think like that was gonna happen. Just everything fell into place. Like that was beautiful. Yeah.
Stick to. So my advice is stick to what you've been doing. Stay consistent on it. Stay working on it. Stay improving on that. And then as everything else, you can add to your bag. As we say in basketball and sports, you can add to your bag later.
Yep.
Start off what got you hit in the league in the first place.
Yeah.
That's great. Great advice. I totally agree with that too. I can't wait to next time I'm in Chicago. I want to stop in. Maybe we'll do a video if you guys will let me.
Hey man, love to have you.
Sure.
All right, that's great. Lynn, Brandon, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Great story. Don't go anywhere yet, but where can people go follow you online or on Instagram if they want to check you guys out?
Yeah, so we are on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Lynn's Chicago Pizza. Our website is CHI Pizza.com.
We'll link everything up to you, like what you just mentioned, your social, your website, your address. We'll link all that up in the show notes for this episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. It was really great talking to you.
I
just want you to know this is something she's been thinking about since we started. She started listening.
I want to be on this show.
It's great.
I'm a fan girl.
I love it.
I'm going to be
I
on
was
this
the one
show.
messaging you.
It's fantastic. It happened, right? You got to project it into reality.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.